Hey guys, what's up? What's up? Today I'm going to show you how to make the ultimate rice recipe. Today your girl cooking with Tammy is going to show you how to make the best tasting seafood rice out there. When I tell you ain't no comparison to none other, this seafood rice recipe is going to be epic. So without further ado, let's introduce these ingredients and get to cooking. The ingredients that we're going to need are shrimp. Use any type of shrimp, whether it be jumbo shrimp, extra large shrimp, colossal, it don't matter. Just make sure it's clean, washed, deveined, pat dried, and ready to go. We're also going to be using bacon. Use any type of meat for this recipe. Trust me, it's really not going to take away from the awesome flavors. We're also going to be rocking out with lump crab. And when it comes down to the veggies, we need bell peppers, any array of colors. We're also going to need diced celery along with the diced onions, along with butter and rice. Now, when it comes to the seasonings, we're going to need smoked paprika, Old Bay, garlic powder, and of course, to bring out the ultimate flavor in this dish, your girl cooking with Tammy's seasonings. So if you have the seasonings, pull it out the cabinet. We're going to be rocking out with the Cajun, Creole, and seafood seasoning along with salt and ground black pepper, some oil, chicken bouillon. With all of that being said, let's get to cooking. Because I want everything to have its own individual flavor, the first thing I want to do is add a small drizzle of oil to my shrimp. And we're going to hit it off with some salt and ground black pepper, just a small pinch. We could always go back in there and adjust later if necessary. Along with seafood seasoning. I'm not going to add a ton simply because this seafood seasoning is pretty flavorful, so we don't need a lot. I'm also going to add some Creole seasoning as well. And last but not least, Cajun seasoning. Let's get in there and mix it up really, really good. Make sure every bit of seasoning is stuck to this shrimp. Mix it on up. Once everything is well combined, we're going to make sure our pan is nice and hot, simply because I want to blacken the shrimp. However, you can saute it as well. It's still going to be absolutely delicious. We're going to add a small drizzle of oil to our hot skillet. We're going to get the shrimp in the pan. As you can see, as soon as the shrimp hits the pan, it's ready to be cooked on up. So I'm just going to get in there because the pan is really, really hot. And I'm going to toss it around real good. Make sure everything is perfectly cooked through. Because the shrimp, as most of us know, seafood cooks really, really fast. So I would say about 1 to 2 minutes and the shrimp would definitely be done and cooked all the way through. Once we're done, we're going to push the shrimp aside because we have more than enough room in this pan to share some space, all right? We're going to introduce our lump crab to this pan. Keep the flavors locked in, guys. Once you get the lump crab into the pan, we're going to break it on down into smaller pieces. However, if the pan is too dry, feel free to add a little bit of avocado or even maybe a little grapeseed oil or even canola oil to get the job done. And it's time for the fun part. Like I said, I want everything to have its own individual seasoning. So we're going to add some Old Bay seasoning to our crab meat, along with our garlic powder for that nice garlicky flavor. We're also going to add some Cajun seasoning, along with our Creole seasoning, and of course, that banging seafood seasoning. We're going to mix it on up really, really good. Make sure the seasoning is well combined throughout the crab meat. We're going to incorporate both the shrimp and the crab meat together. Just fold the shrimp on in. In total, it took about 2 to 3 minutes to cook our shrimp and heat our lump crab on up. However, I'm going to grab a bowl and remove the lump crab and shrimp from the pan. At this point, we're going to set it to the side, but trust and believe I'm going to be picking at it as I'm cooking. And I know you're going to be doing the same thing. Because like I said before, we want to keep those flavors locked in. All right, we're going to add a small drizzle of oil to the same pan. Just a small drizzle. And we're going to cook our bacon on up. Cook your bacon however you prefer. When it comes to the meat for this dish, as far as the bacon, you can rock out with turkey bacon, andouille sausages, turkey sausage. It's totally optional as far as what meat you prefer or what type of sausage you want to rock out with. So I can add the bacon to the oven and cook the bacon that way, but guess what? I want the flavors from the bacon, so that's why I'm opting to cook it on the stovetop. Because once we get all of those oils from the bacon, that's going to help to flavor our rice as well. Of course, after the bacon is nice and brown, we're going to get in there and flip it on over. Cook the bacon to your preference, whether or not if you want it really crispy and crunchy, or if you prefer it more on the softer side. Flip it on over. Once you're done, you're going to remove the bacon from the pan as well. Set it aside. And let's keep this party train moving. In this pan, we have our seafood along with our bacon flavors going on. So at this point in time, we're going to add our diced onions along with our bell peppers. Let's get both our red and green bell peppers in this saucy pan. Now, here's the thing. If you don't have red or green bell peppers, no worries whatsoever. Use whichever color bell peppers you have, whether it be orange or even yellow bell peppers. Trust me, it's not going to take away from the recipe. We're also going to add our diced celery, and we're going to get in there. We're going to mix it on in really, really good. We're going to saute these veggies down until they're slightly softened. However, if you've been rocking out with me for a hot minute, you know that I don't like to cook the veggies until they're totally softened, because what that means is the veggies is going to lose its color vibrancy, and you want your colors to pop, especially when it comes down to presentation. We're going to season up these veggies with some garlic powder along with smoked paprika. Add a small amount of smoked paprika because, trust me, it goes a long way. We're also going to add our Old Bay seasoning. Along with our Cajun seasoning and our seafood seasoning. Stir that on up as well. Make sure everything is well combined. We want everything to have its own individual flavors. In the meanwhile, I'm going to get in there and cut my bacon on up. However, you could cut your bacon up prior to putting it in the pan. We're going to stir these veggies on up one more time. Now would be the perfect time to add our butter. Stop playing. You know butter make everything taste better. No, but we're going to add the butter, allow it to become nice and melted. And I can guarantee you it's definitely going to bring out the best flavors in this rice dish. For this particular recipe, I'm going to be using long grain rice. However, you could swap it for whatever rice you prefer. But in the meanwhile, we're going to stir this rice on in. Keep in mind this rice is not pre-cooked, but it is pre-washed. We're going to toast this rice on up for about a minute. In the meanwhile, to our water, we are going to add some chicken bouillon powder, and we're going to stir that on in really, really good. If you don't have chicken bouillon and water, that's not a problem. Just opt for using chicken broth, or let's say even seafood broth or veggie broth. Once everything is well combined, we're going to introduce our chicken broth to our rice. Stir that one in as well. Make sure nothing is stuck to the bottom. We want to make sure all of our flavors at this point in time, all layers of flavors are perfectly incorporated. Because I didn't go in heavy with the seasonings, I'm going to add a little bit more seasoning at this current time. Let's add some seafood seasoning along with our garlic powder. Of course, we're going to add some Old Bay seasoning as well. And a small pinch of smoked paprika for a nice smoky element of flavor, Creole Seasoning, and our Cajun Seasoning. And last but not least, a small pinch of salt and ground black pepper. Remember, when it comes to the salt, you can always go back and add a little bit more if necessary. But in the meanwhile, we're going to stir everything on up. Due to the fact that I'm using parboiled rice, it usually takes about 20 minutes to cook. However, I am going to check back on this rice in about 15 minutes. Simply because I want to make sure that the water hasn't dried out of the pan entirely. Once we're done, we're going to lower the flame just a bit. We're going to cover it on down. So definitely check periodically. If you got to get in there, stir it up just a bit. Let's chop some fresh parsley. However, if you don't have fresh parsley on hand, substitute with dried parsley. After 20 minutes, we're going to get in there, check on this rice. And guess what? We are looking lovely. So at this point in time, we're going to add our seafood. We're going to fold our crab and our shrimp on into the rice. Listen, guys, fold it on in there, right? At this point, you're going to be salivating. Trust me, you're going to be tempted because it's so delicious. However, fold the seafood into the rice really well. Remember guys, everything has its own layers of seasoning and flavor. So when you combine everything and bring it together as one, when I tell you there is no comparison out there when it comes to seafood rice, OMG. This right here, guys, is absolutely it. Hands down, definitely the recipe. And I know you didn't forget about the bacon bits. Add the bacon bits or the sausage to the pan and let's get it popping. Let's fold that on in as well. I would definitely make this recipe not only now to try it on out, but definitely around the holiday time as well. Especially if you're a seafood lover, this recipe is definitely guaranteed to impress. Let's bring this recipe on home. We're going to garnish with some freshly chopped parsley. And this is it, Cooking with Tammy fam. Definitely give this recipe a try. Let your girl know what you thought. And as always, I would definitely catch you guys in another video. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.